Misery by Simon Moore, adapted from the Stephen King novel. Cast: Kitty Whitley will be playing Annie Wilkes, and Alfie James will be playing Paul Sheldon. A bell will show each scene ending. Scene 1: a small room in an old country cottage. Paul Sheldon is coming round from being unconscious from an accident.
Oh, don't do that, Paul. If you get those legs of yours talking again, they won't shut up. And I can't give you any more pills yet. I'm giving you too much as it is.
I can't do anything.
Do you remember who I am? Yes, you do. I'm Annie Wilkes. I've told you enough times.
How did I get here?
By a miracle. There's no other way to describe it.
I can't remember.
There was a storm, but all the weathermen said it was going to go south towards New Mexico. I was in Sidewinder getting feed for the livestock. Andy Roberts said I'd better step on it if I was going to get back here before the storm hit. And I said to Andy, that storm is going south. But he said, no, it's changed its mind. But I had to get back. There's no one to feed the animals but me. The nearest people are the Roydmans, and they're miles away, and boy, they don't like me. I got about 5 miles out and the snow started. It came fast. Up here it always does. I was just creeping along with my lights on, and then I saw the skid marks. An hour later and the snow would have covered them up completely. If I'd been on an upgrade, I might not have stopped. Not very Christian, I know, but there were 3 inches on the road already, and with a 4-wheel drive you can't be sure of getting going again. I stopped and looked over the edge, and then I saw your car all topsy-turvy, half buried in the snow down by the river. I hoofed it down through the trees and I heard groaning. That was you, Paul.
I don't remember any of this.
When I pulled you out, you had that little bruise on your head, but that didn't look like anything. It was your legs. I could see straight away that your legs just weren't right. I knew I had to get you into the warm or you'd die, so I dragged you up into the truck. You weighed a ton. You're lucky I don't give up easy, and I drove home as fast as I dared. I could smell the booze on your breath, Paul.
I'd been drinking champagne because I'd finished a book. I was so stupid.
Stupid is the word, Paul. I was sure you were going to die. I mean, I was so sure. And then you screamed, and I felt better because I knew you'd live. So I gave you some strong pain medication, and then you went to sleep. And then you woke up and started to scream again, and I gave you some more. While you were out, I got your driver's license, and I saw the name Paul Sheldon, and I thought, oh, that must be a coincidence. But then I went into the hall and checked the picture on the back of Misery in France, and I got scared. I got real scared. I had to sit down. I thought I was going to faint. And then I saw your Writers Guild card, and I knew you were Paul Sheldon. Oh boy, the Paul Sheldon.
I'm amazed you know who I am.
That's a laugh. I'm your #1 fan. Your #1 fan? That's what's so miraculous. Before I got the feed, I went to check out the paperbacks at Wilson's. I was hoping Misery's Child would be out finally, but no such luck. Paul, I was actually thinking about you. You ran a fever for a while, but I knocked that out with some Keflex. You had 1 or 2 close calls. You've been unconscious for the most of the last 2 weeks. You owe me your life.
2 weeks? I've been here out for 2 weeks.
I fed you intravenously to start with. That's what the marks on your arms are.
Shouldn't I be in hospital?
You're better than in a hospital because I'm a trained nurse. You won't get finer care anywhere. Now it's time you rested.
My legs really hurt.
Of course they do. In a minute you can have some medication.
Yes, I think I need some now.
Any minute. Don't tire yourself by talking too much.
Did you find a bag in the car?
What kind of bag? Oh, you mean this? I was just fooling with you, you old silly. I took the liberty of looking inside it. You don't mind, do you?
No, of course I'm not. I'm just relieved you got it.
It's called Fast Cars, so it can't be a Misery novel. No cars in the 19th century, fast or otherwise. I took the liberty of glancing through it. You don't mind, do you?
Oh, of course not.
And if I read it, you wouldn't mind?
You're privileged. You'll be the first person in the world to get to read that apart from me.
Because I would never presume to do such a thing without your permission. I respect you too much. In fact, Paul, I love you. Your creativity, that's all I meant.
I know. You're my #1 fan.
That's it exactly. You wouldn't mind if I read it in the spirit of fan love?
No?
I'm sorry it's not a misery book. I hope you don't mind me saying that.
It's better than a misery book. Much better. Actually, I've been planning this for the last 5 years. I happen to think that it's the best work I've ever done.
Then it must be truly great, Paul.
Well, I don't know about that, but let's just say you may be looking at the winner of next year's book award.
Oh, you're good. I knew you would be. Just reading your books, I knew you would be. A man who could think of Misery Chastain, who could breathe life into someone like her, just had to be good.
I wonder if you could make a telephone call for me. My agent is going to be very worried about me.
Of course, but the phone lines are down at the moment because of the snow. Oh, time for your pills. 2 every 6 hours, on the hour. On the hour, not before, not 5 minutes to the hour, but on the hour.
Is this a farm? I've heard animals.
Not really. Half a dozen laying hens, 2 cows. Oh, and Misery. You won't think I'm very nice calling a sow after the brave, beautiful woman you created, but I meant no disrespect. She's very friendly. Oink, 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 oink.
You haven't mentioned the book. Have you read it?
About 40 pages. I don't think it's as good as the others. It's hard to follow. It keeps jumping about in time.
It's just a technique. It shows Tony's confused state of mind.
Yes, he's very confused, and that makes it less interesting. Not boring. I'm sure you couldn't create a boring character, but less interesting.
Well, it's just a style a lot of contemporary novels use. It's called streamline of a consciousness.
Is it?
What else?
Oh, well, Paul, it's the profanity. Every other word is that F word. It has no nobility.
Tony's a ghetto kid from the Spanish Harlem, and everyone uses those words then.
I do not. What do you think I say when I go to the feed store in town? What do you think I say? Now, Andy, give me a bag of that effing pig feed and a bag of that bitchly cow corn and some of that Christing earmite medicine. And what do you think he says to me? You're effing right, Annie, come right the F up. And then I suppose I go down the street to the bank and say to Mrs. Bollinger, here's one big bastard of a cheque. You better give me 50 effing pounds just as effing quick as you can. Do you think that when they put me on the stand in Denver and accused, oh, there, look what you've made me do.
Okay, Annie, I'm sorry you don't like the book.
It wasn't what I wanted.
Well, I'm sorry about this.
Misery's what I like. Misery, not some foul little spit car thief. I have such a temper.
I'm sorry.
You should be. You don't use those words in the misery books because they weren't even invented then. Animal times breed animal words, I suppose. But you ought to stick to your misery stories, Paul. And I say that sincerely. As your #1 fan, I blacked out all the swear words with the pen for you.
Thanks.
I may go back to it later.
Don't do that if it makes you angry. I sort of depend on you. You know that.
You sure do.
Is the telephone working yet?
It's not, Paul, no.
Only it's been quite a...
I am aware of how long the telephone has been out, and I'd rather you didn't keep quizzing me about it. I'm not the phone company, Paul.
Oh, Annie,
What?
I have a packet of cigarettes in my bag.
I know you do, Paul. They're cancer sticks.
So they say. I wonder if I could have them.
No, I don't want your death on my conscience. And you, still so ill? Smokers.
You're not mad at me, are you, Annie?
I suppose you want your cockadoodie medication now.
Yes, I feel awful. I haven't slept at all. Never realised how much they were dulling the pain.
I have them, but first I have to clean up the mess on the floor. The mess you made.
I wonder if I could have my tablets now.
I must rinse, or else the soap will leave a dull spot.
Please, Annie, the pain. I'm dying.
Oh, you're not dying.
You've made me wait nearly 8 hours. I'm going to scream in a minute.
Then scream. But remember, it's nobody's fault but your own. Here, 3 Novril. 3 instead of your usual 2. Wait. Wash them down with this. I know you can dry swallow them, but please believe me when I say I can make them come right back up again. Oh, come on, it's only rinse water. It won't hurt you.
There's no way I'm going to drink that. What do you think I am? Some kind of naughty child? You must be joking.
I assure you I'm not joking, Paul. I will bring them back up again just as... Paul! All of it. I wouldn't throw them up, Paul. No more until tomorrow. You won't make me mad again, will you?
No.
I love you.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
They had it. They had it in the store. That's why I've been gone so long. I opened it just to read the first page, and before I knew what had happened, I'd lost myself and I was on page 50, and I'd realised you'd probably be screaming out for your pills.
I could do with them, sure, but what have you been reading?
Misery's Child, of course, stupid. They got the paperback today.
Oh, right. It seems so long since I wrote it. I always think of it as the hardback release in the time when...
Well, not everyone can afford fancy hardbacks, Mr. Man.
What? Do you like it?
Oh, Paul, I love it. It's as good as all the rest. Better. The best. It more than makes up for that other book.
Thanks.
I knew Misery would marry Rory, and I'm sure Baron Heidlig will forgive Misery for marrying Rory, even though they were engaged. Does he forgive her? No, don't tell me. I want to find out for myself. I'm making it last. It always seems so long before there's another one. I shan't sleep until I finish it. I've brought you chips and candy and extra pills because I'm not going to do anything else until I've read it to the end.
That's great. Did you make that call for me in town?
Oh, I didn't get the chance. I'm sorry, but it's not every day you get a new Paul Sheldon. Oh, which is your favourite out of all the ones you've written?
I don't really have favourites. To be perfectly honest.
I love them all, of course, but if I had to pick one, oh, it's so hard. The one I've read the most has got to be Misery Wronged, where she's kidnapped by the awful Black John Weston. And the most exciting is probably Misery in France, where Rory rescued her at the very last minute from the guillotine of the mad Count Leroux, and they escaped in that great big balloon. But the most romantic one, no, the scariest one, is definitely Misery in Love, where she gets stripped of her title and thrown in the horrible Bedlam hospital by her mad sister, Gwendolen Chastain. Ugh. You see, I was a nurse, so I know how terrible those places can be. Oh, you're wonderful, Paul. You're just wonderful.
What kind of nurse were you?
Oh, all kinds. I worked in an old people's home for a few years, but that was very annoying. And then there was all that Denver business.
What was that, Annie?
Oh, tell me what happened, Paul. I've just got to the bit where Misery gets trapped by the gypsy fortune teller, who's not really a gypsy fortune teller. Is it Gwendolen? I'm sure it's that Oogie woman. Is it? Is it?
My lips are sealed.
Paul, can I ask you a personal question?
Go ahead.
Where do you get your ideas from?
No. It's just that's the question everyone always asks writers. Where do you get your ideas from?
Well, it's so dumb you get asked it all the time, then I expect you to have a pretty special answer.
I didn't mean it like that.
No, go right ahead, Paul. I'm all ears. Where do you get your ideas from?
Well, all kinds of places. You know, things you hear, conversations, other books.
No, stupid. I mean your special ideas. The ones that make the books come alive.
I don't know. They're just somewhere.
Where do you get your ideas from?
Nowhere.
Oh, I won't sleep tonight, Paul. I won't sleep a wink until I finish this. Reading one of your books is like being in love. No, it's better. No. No. No!
What, Annie? Annie, what is it? Are you all right?
You dirty bird.
What's wrong? What have I done?
She can't be dead. Misery Chastain cannot be dead.
Annie, please.
Dirty bird. Oh, you dirty birdie. How could you?
She died giving birth. That's what often happened in those days. It's just a noble sacrifice. She gave her own life for her baby. And Misery's spirit never dies.
I don't want her spirit. I want her. And you killed her. You murdered her.
I didn't.
Oh, of course not. And if you didn't, Mr. Paul Sheldon, then who did?
No one. She just died.
I thought you were good, but you're not good. You're just a lying old dirty birdie.
Annie, she slipped away, that's all. It was like life. When someone just...
People in stories don't just slip away. You're in charge. You're God. You make everything happen. Oh boy, you must think I was born yesterday. I was a nurse. I know how people die. I had dozens of people die in my arms. I think I'd better go now. I don't think I'd better be around you for a while. I don't think that's wise.
Go? Where?
A place I know. If I stay here, I'll do something unwise. Goodbye, Paul.
Will you be back to give me my medication? I really need my novel, Annie. I'm going to scream out loud if I don't get my novel. I know you're there. So can you come out and stop playing games? Oh, help me. Oh, please, someone help me. You're in trouble. You're in deep shit now. But you're going to get out. You're going to get out. Come on. Sooner or later, somebody's going to come around here. Someone. She's probably had a crash. She's had a car crash. I'm just going to die here. Die of hunger. Or thirst. Or just pain. Some fucking horse race. That'll be 7 to 5, a novel boy. Annie, are you out there? Are you outside the door now? Damn you. You made me a junkie on this morphine and codeine and whatever shitload of elephant dope it is. You could at least give me my fix, you bitch. Must have found your car by now. There'll be news stories and everything. Found a wrecked car halfway down Humboldt Mountain. Must belong to that famous Paul Sheldon. He'd have crawled out in a daze, you know, what with all the creative types I like. I need my water and food, my novel. I need them, Annie. I need them. I don't want to die in here. Well, Paul, you always wanted to know what it was like to drink your own piss.
I have a cool, fresh glass of water for you. No, I'm not a mirage. Oh, a little at a time or you'll vomit.
The capsules, the pain, please. Annie, please. For God's sake, help me. The pain's so bad.
I know it is, but I had to get away and think. My thoughts are often muddy, I know that. So I prayed, and I said, Dear God, Paul Sheldon may be dead when I get back. But God said, no, I have spared him so you can show him the way he must go. I'll give you the medication, but first you have a little job to do.
Annie, don't torment me. Treat me like a human being. I'm in terrible pain.
I know, my dear, soon. Ta-da! Fast cars.
Oh, no, Annie. That's the best thing I've ever done.
Oh, I beg to differ.
Burn it? Go on. Burn it. You think I haven't made copies? You know how much I get for writing a book, Annie. You think there's only one copy, eh?
Yes, Paul, I think there's only one copy.
Please.
It's disgusting. That aside, it's also no good.
You wouldn't know good if it walked up and spat in your face.
First of all, good would not spit in my face. Evil might, but not good. Second of all, I do know good when I see it. You're good, Paul. All you need is help.
For Christ's sake!
Use all the profanity you want. I've heard it all before.
No, I won't do it. No.
When you burn it, then I'll give you the capsules. A double dose because it's been so long. All the pain will vanish and you'll begin to feel serene. And I'll change your bedding. I see you've wet it. It must be uncomfortable. I'll also change you. And by then you'll probably be hungry.
I'm hungry. I'm starving.
And I'll give you some soup and some thick, buttery toast. But until you burn that book, Paul, I can do nothing.
I hate you.
Oh, yes. That's what a child says. He says, Mummy, I hate you. You're mean. The mother feels bad, but she knows she's right and she does her duty, as I'm doing mine. Well, Paul?
No.
It's with the trash, Paul. That's where it belongs. I can come back tomorrow if you like, although I rather suspect you may go into a coma before too long.
No.
Well, you are a stubborn little boy. I'll drop by tomorrow and see if you've changed your...
All right. All right. Burn it then.
Oh, no. I can't do it, much as I'd like to spare you the agony.
Why not? Why ever not?
Because you must do it of your own free will.
What are you going to make? Why are you trying to make me do this?
I'm not making you do anything. It's your own free will. Oh, good boy. Good boy. Oh boy, goodness.
What time is it?
It's 5:30.
In the morning?
I know it's early, but it's Christmas and I just couldn't wait. Oh, this is so exciting. Paul, look. What's this?
To Annie, with special love from Paul.
I knew you couldn't really get me anything, but that doesn't matter. We'll pretend. So, what have you got me?
It's a surprise. I just hope you like it.
Why, Paul, it's a new smoker for my bees. You must have known my old one was coming to pieces. You are thoughtful. It's beautiful. You're so good. Now, a present deserves a present in return. This is your big present. I put it in here last night while you were asleep. To Paul, festive greetings and love from Annie. Well, we need you mobile now you're getting better, don't we?
Yeah, sure. What for particularly?
So you can sit up at the table, dummy. Because what else is under the tree? Oh my, what could this be? It's certainly heavy enough. Have you guessed? Do you know what it is?
To the greatest writer in the world, from his #1 fan.
That's me. Open it.
Okay. Oh, typewriter. It's a royal. God, it's a real antique.
I know it's second-hand, but it's good second-hand.
I didn't mean anything by it. It's a good typewriter. It lasts forever. It's great.
I got it at Pen to Paper. Isn't that a stupid name for a store? But Nancy Dartmonger, who runs it, is a very stupid woman. Dartmonger. Her name ought to be Whoremonger. Divorced twice, and now she's living with a bartender. See, that's why when you said it looks like an antique.
No, it looks fine. Really, I love it.
He wanted $45 for it, but she gave me 5 off because it's missing an N. See? There's no N. It's missing one of its teeth.
What does that matter?
I told her N was an important letter. It's one of the letters in my favourite writer's name.
It's 2 letters in my favourite nurse's name.
You fooler.
Annie, I've heard the TV up in your bedroom. Gosh, I really do miss keeping in touch with what's going on in the world and everything. I don't suppose, as it's Christmas, you could bring it down here today and...
Not without breaking my back, I couldn't, Paul. It's not exactly a portable.
Right. I was just wondering if there had been any news about my disappearance. I mean, it seemed so strange all these weeks and no one's come looking for me. They haven't, have they? Maybe another phone call would...
Paul, I'm getting really sick and tired of this. I told you. I rang your agent's office and left this number. And if she doesn't want to call you back, that's not my problem, is it?
No, but maybe another...
Well, is it my problem?
I guess not.
Thank you. Boy, we haven't finished with your presents. I've got you some writing paper. Oh, now I've spoilt the surprise. Never mind. Open it. I'll set everything up and we'll have a regular little writer's den. Well? Well?
Great. What will I write, do you think?
Oh, but Paul, I don't think. I know. You're going to write a new novel. Your best novel. Misery's Return. It'll be my reward for nursing you back to health. And you can start today.
But, Annie, it's Christmas Day. You were going to bring the TV down and we were going to play cards and everything, weren't we?
Do you know how much I've spent on your Christmas?
Look, Misery is dead. I'm sorry, but there's...
Even when I was mad at you, I knew she wasn't really dead. You couldn't really kill her because you're good. In fact, we're going to find out just how good you are, Mr. Man. We'll set up your new typewriter at the table and...
I don't know if I can even sit in a wheelchair.
Well, let's see, shall we?
I don't know. I'm pretty heavy.
Don't be a baby. You think this is the first time I put a man in a wheelchair? Oh, yes, I know it hurts. It will hurt. Maybe an awful lot to start with, but there'll be a scene where it hurts a little less. And a little less. Ah, good as new. Almost. And now you've got your mobility, I know you won't abuse my trust.
No, of course not. Annie, will you promise me one thing?
Of course.
If I write this story for you...
Novel? A great big one like the others, maybe even bigger.
Okay. If I write this novel for you, will you let me go if I do?
You talk like I'm keeping you prisoner. I guess by the time you finish, you should be up to the strain of meeting people again. Is that what you wanted to hear?
That's what I wanted to hear.
Well, honestly, I knew writers were supposed to have big egos, but I didn't realise how ungrateful they are.
I'll need all the other books, if you've got them, so I can cross-check dates and things.
If I've got them? Are you joking? Oh, I'm going to bind Misery's Return myself. A hardback. There's lots of candy in your stocking, but don't fill up, because in a couple of hours I'll be in with the biggest turkey dinner you ever saw, with bacon and sugared potatoes and the sweet applesauce and peas cooked in orange juice. It's already sizzling away.
Annie, in 2 hours, it'll be 8 o'clock in the morning.
You'll be hungry when you smell it. And I've got pumpkin pie with strawberry ice cream because you've been such a good boy. You can even have an extra Christmas pill if you need it, because you have to be strong to work. You'll mend faster when you're working, I bet. I'll go out now so you can put your thinking cap on. Oh, this is so exciting, don't you think so?
Annie, I'm afraid I can't start today.
Oh?
This paper's no good.
But it's the most expensive. Nancy said so in pen to paper.
Did your mother ever tell you that the most expensive is not always the best?
No, she did not. What she told me, Mr. Smart Guy, is that when you buy cheap, you get cheap.
And you might as well stop that getting mad won't change the paper.
You're trying to trick me because you don't want to write my book. I knew you would. Oh, boy.
Look, if you give me a pencil, I'll show you what the problem is. Look, watch. Here, look. You see how it smudges? Ribbon ink will do just the same thing.
Oh, and you're going to sit and rub every page with your thumb, are you?
When you're working, you're always hunting back to find a name or a date. Just a shift of a page will blur everything. Editors hate that paper. It's one of the first things you learn in this business.
Don't call it that.
What?
A business. Your talent is a gift from God.
Oh, sorry.
You ought to be. You might as well call yourself a whore.
Well, good point. Now, getting back to the paper.
I'll get your cock-a-doodle paper. Just tell me what to get.
We wanted to look good for the publisher.
I told you, I'm binding it myself.
Annie, I'm on your side.
Don't make me laugh. No one's been on my side since my mother died.
A book should last a lifetime, Annie. And if I write on this paper...
You don't have to talk anymore. What kind?
Also a ream of long grain Mimeo or hammermill bond is good. Or trade modern. It'll cost much less and...
Go right now.
You don't have to do that. This paper's fine to start with. After all, I'll have to rewrite anyway.
Oh no, Paul. Only an idiot would start good work with a bad tool.
But it's Christmas. The store's going to be closed.
Oh, Nancy lives above the store. I'll get her to open up, especially for you. I'm sure she won't mind a bit, even if she's in the middle of cooking her Christmas dinner for all her family and all her relatives, because nothing is too much trouble for you, Paul. Nothing. I know you want to get started just as soon as you can, since you're on my side. So I'm not even going to take your time to put you back to bed or give you your pills.
Annie, really, I can start if you're just...
I know I look slow and stupid, but I'm not stupid, Paul, and I'm certainly not slow.
Ow!
You sit there and scream if you want to, because no one can hear you. Nobody stops here because they all know Annie Wilkes is crazy. They think I got away with it, and they're right. Think about that, Paul, while I'm in town getting your cock-a-doodle paper. If your turkey's black as tar, you'll still eat every last piece, even if I have to shove it down your throat. You've spoilt Christmas.
Please, God, get me out of this. Come on, Paul. Come on. She's crazy. She's going to kill you. Come on. Oh, come on. You're one phone call away from getting out of here. I just cannot believe the guts of this Sheldon kid today. Come on. Nobody on the Annie Wilkes Stadium believed he could have a chance of getting out of this old wheelchair and getting after that blow he took. Yes. Come on, look at him go. Sheldon's going for the gold in the Special Olympics. Shit. Good thinking, Annie. No insides, no nasty bills to pay. She's coming back. She's coming back. Take that as a warning. Just as soon as we've had a little novel burger to dull the pain. Where's my novel, Annie? Come on, be a sport. Where do you keep them? Jesus, you little squirrel. Where are they then, hey? Where do you keep Paulie's novel? Come on. Where are they?
I've got your paper. Boy, I hope you appreciate all the trouble you've put me through. Nancy was still wallowing in bed, but that's not surprising. I didn't exactly think she'd be on her knees in church. I had to hammer on the door for about 5 minutes before she came down, half dressed and probably half drunk. She was effing and blinding and telling me I was crazy, but she opened the store eventually. Ugh, that whore would open her mother's coffin for £5. Paul? Have you gone back to sleep? I hope that turkey's all right for your sake, because you're going to eat it even if it isn't. This had better be the right What have you been doing? Answer me. What have you been doing?
I've been suffering, as you well know.
Oh, has it been very bad?
I tried to get back into my bed, but I couldn't. This chair really hurts.
Well, I told you about making me mad. Live and learn. Isn't that what they say? Well, if you live, I'll guess you'll learn.
Can I have my pills now?
In a minute. First, I want to make sure there's nothing else stupid old Nurse Wilkes forgot because she doesn't know how a smart guy goes about writing a book. I want to make sure you don't want me to go back into town and get you a special novel writer's tape recorder, or maybe a pair of writing slippers or something like that. Because if you want to, I'll go. Your wish is my command. I won't even wait to give you your pills. I'll hop right into old Bessie again and go. So what do you say, Mr. Smart Guy? You all set?
I'm all set. Annie, please.
And you won't make me mad anymore?
No, I won't make you mad anymore.
Paul, why are you holding your hands like that? I asked you a question.
I want my urinal. I held it all the time you were gone, Annie, but I can't any longer, and I don't want to wet myself again.
Oh, you poor dear. Annie's put you through a lot, hasn't she? Too much. Mean old Annie. I'll get it right away. And your pills. Do you need help?
I can do it. Misery's Return. Chapter 1. Rebirth. Warmy Carmichael burst into the huge kitchen of his manor house on the banks of Loch Dunthorpe, announcing his homecoming by hurling a brace of pheasants on the ancient kitchen table. He ripped off his soaking shirt and let it drop carelessly onto the floor, running his strong fingers through his slopping blonde hair. He could hear the strains of the chopping form the great hall beyond, and suddenly the moisture running down his masculine cheeks was not rainwater, but tears, as the memory of Misery's desperate dance with the Grim Reaper overwhelmed him. Her labour had been long and brutal, but it was only when the midwife had urged Rory to ride for the doctor that he had realised his darling wife was near death. Her terrible screaming would be forever etched onto his heart. As Rory now strode manfully towards the great hall, he gave silent thanks to the healthy cry of his son upstairs, and he smiled to himself as he heard the comforting lullaby sung by Annabel Wilkes, surely the best children's nurse in the whole of Scotland. As Rory entered the great hall, Misery arose from behind the grand piano and breathlessly rushed into his arms. Rory held her like a precious jewel, her chestnut hair cascading over him in a glorious profusion. He simply couldn't bear to contemplate what life would be like if he had ridden with the doctor even just 5 minutes later on that terrible night 2 months ago. Or if the experimental blood transfusion had not worked, in which he had bravely sliced open his forearm and poured into life's blood into Misery's veins. My darling, said Misery. And
Stop, Paul.
What's wrong?
I think you know what's wrong.
Don't you like it? It's a
cheat. Oh, it's beautiful, Paul, but it's still a dirty cheat.
Why?
Ugh. Rory rode for the doctor at the end of Misery's Child. That bit's right. But the doctor never came because Rory's horse tripped on that rotten Mr. Grigger's toll gate, and Rory broke his ribs and lay there all night in the rain. So the doctor never came, you see.
No, I don't see. Look, it's Misery, just like you asked me for.
Oh, boy, you must think I'm awful stupid.
I don't.
When I was a girl, I used to go to the movies every Saturday. What I liked best was the chapter plays. Rocket Man was my favourite. Each week it ended with him in terrible trouble, unconscious in a crashing plane, or tied to a chair in a burning warehouse, or about to get fried with 10,000 volts shoved through him. And then it stopped, and you spent the whole week wondering how he'd get out. Like when he was unconscious in an airplane. He came around and found a parachute under his seat and jumped out. And that was fair enough. Better?
Yes, thanks.
When he found the parachute, well, maybe it wasn't realistic, but it was fair. But then there was this episode where the bad guys put Rocket Man in a car with no brakes and welded all the doors shut and pushed him down a twisty mountain road, ending in this huge cliff. And there was poor old Rocket Man trying to stop the car and steer and open the door all at the same time. And then the car went over the cliff and hit the rocks and burst into flames and went into the ocean. Oh boy, I was on the edge of my seat, I can tell you. The next week, I was waiting outside the theatre for 2 hours before it opened. And the episode always started at the end of the last one. Rocket Man racing down the hill like before, banging on the door, trying to open it. But then, just before the car got to the edge, the door opened and he rolled out onto the road. And all the kids in the theatre cheered, but not me. I was mad. This isn't what happened last week. This isn't what happened. Are you all too stupid to remember? Did you all get amnesia? That was a dirty cheat. He didn't get out of the cock-a-doodie car. It went over the edge and he was still inside. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you understand that?
Yes, Annie, yes.
Then you know what's wrong.
I suppose I do.
Then you better fix it. And you better fix it by tomorrow night, because I've had enough of your excuses.
Come on. Get inspired. Get fucking inspired. You've got to cut down on all the dope you're taking, Paul, or you'll give yourself a bad habit. Well, a worse habit, junkie. Not today. Let's wait until you get the chapter to your #1 critic she actually likes. You thought Fast Cars was good, huh, Paul, eh? It's cock-a-doodle. Right. Rory had never really accepted that Misery was dead, nor forgotten himself for not shit. Okay. What we've got here is lots of talk on white space. Misery's Return by Paul Sheldon, Chapter 1, Voices from the Grave. For a moment, Rory was not sure who the trembling figure in the darkness was. Oh, sir, please forgive me for disturbing you at this hour, but I cannot sleep. It was only when the terrified old man shuffled into the light of the doorway that Rory recognised him as Smiggs, the village gravedigger. Only 3 days previously, Rory had watched Smeg's shovel as it went into the earth onto poor Misery's coffin after the heartbreaking funeral service. It's the noises in the churchyard, sir. Horrible scratching noises. Her ladyship rests not easy. Rory dispatched Smeggs back into the night, telling him not to be so stupid. But less than 5 minutes later, after almost gagging on a giant tumbler of malt, he had hitched up the horses and was riding the pony trap through the dark night. His ribs were still agony from where the doctor had trapped him taped him up after he fell from the horse on the rotten Mr. McGregor's toll gate. Smeg's words alone would not have put Rory into the present state of terror, but when a local doctor had examined poor Misery's body, he had something else very, very queer. It's not a bit like Charlotte Evelyn Hyde. I have satisfied myself with that.
Who's Charlotte Evelyn Hyde? She's not in the other Misery book.
Do you want me to read, or do you want to ask questions?
No, sorry, Paul, read on.
Charlotte Evelyn Hyde had been found dead in her back garden. Yes. but the doctor had pronounced it to be a heart attack, although the girl was only 18. 4 days after she was buried, the village prostitute, Miss Roydem, had staggered drunkenly through the graveyard and tipped over something white on the ground. Yeah. She shrieked like a banshee when she realized it was a hand, the torn figures thrusting up hideously through the earth of a fresh grave. Poor Charlotte had clearly fallen into some death-like coma, only to be woke and then find herself buried alive. She had tried to dig herself out. As this awful memory came back to him, Rory jerked the horses to a halt outside the gates of the graveyard. He rushed to Misery, to her tombstone at the church. As the church clock hammered midnight, he threw himself onto the ground and forced his ear against the earth. For what seemed like an eternity, he remained motionless, listening. And then suddenly he heard the sound of the weak hands clawing at the wood deep below, and he let out a single breathless sob. Misery, Misery, I'm here. Hold on, my darling. Well, is it fair?
Oh, yes. Yes, it's fair. It's wonderful. But Paul, it's so gruesome. That poor woman who scraped the ends of her fingers off. It's not like the other misery books.
Well, I don't know, Annie. Maybe it's not right. Maybe I should just tear it up.
Oh, I'll kill you if you do. I have to know what happens next. I want a new chapter every night, like the cliffhangers.
I can't write a whole new chapter every day. Look, Annie, that's too much work.
You can. Like that girl who had to make up a new story each night for 1,000 million nights.
Oh, what? Sheridays?
And I can help too. I'll fill in all the missing ends. I won't peek. I'll do it with my eyes squidged half shut. I'll read it again, Paul.
Oh, I'm pretty tired now, if that's all right. I have been working all day and half the night.
Of course. I'll leave you alone. Oh, Paul, I'm so excited. Maybe it was a bee.
What?
That made it look like she was dead. She could have been stung by a bee, but everybody thought she died in childbirth. 1 person in 12 is allergic to bee venom, and sometimes they cause a comatose state. In fact, a bee could have been why that other woman, Charlotte, was buried alive as well.
Oh, yeah. 2 unrelated women in the same village are both buried alive within 6 months because of bee stings.
Well, you're the writer.
Nice of you to say so.
Oh, Paul, just forget I said anything.
No, wait a minute. They could be related. Yes, it could work if they were related. Charlotte is really Misery's sister. No, half-sister. That will work better. And that bees affected both of them because they were both related.
Did I help? Did I?
Bring them with a pencil. Maybe they've got the same hair or something. Shit, maybe someone else in the village knows that Misery was buried alive. Throughout the voyage, Misery lay in her hammock, half alive and half dead, slipping into trances at the slightest. No. Rory knew that if she were ever to be stung by another bee, ever stung, good, yes, ever to be stung, she would die instantly. No. She would. Misery would either be killed or cured instantly. Yes. This is good, Annie. I'm cooking. I'll have a really special chapter for you tonight.
Here.
Annie, are you all right?
No.
I've almost finished. I'm just rewriting the last bit. Would you like your story early tonight? Sit down on the bed. Go on. You remember how we left things last night? Yes, you do. Rory and Misery boarded the boat, the schooner for the ship.
To the Dark Continent?
Yes, to Africa. Shall I read on? Less than 100 miles inland from Launceston, the Dutch settlement on the northern tip of the Barnaby coast, lived the Burkas, Africa's most feared and native tribe, known as the Bee People. It took 3 days before Rory found a guide who would take them to the Burka country, a giant Negro called Hesketh, who flashed 7 gold teeth every time he smiled. He told Annie, I'm not finished. He told fabulous tales of the huge woman's face carved in stone, jutting from the side of the crumbling cliff, a merciless face with a huge ruby set in stone in her stone forehead. Behind the idol's mouth was a honeycomb of caves, where a hive of giant albino bees lived. And Annie, you're very sick. I really think that you should go into town and see a doctor.
I suppose you think of escaping. You can't. But we could both go together. I'm going to go into the shed and get my shotgun now. I'm going to come back and put it in your mouth and pull the trigger. And then I'll turn it on myself. Maybe the next world's better than this one.
No, Annie. You want me to finish the book, don't you?
Misery?
Of course, Misery. Yes, I agree the world is a pretty awful place, especially when it rains. I've been in a lot of pain these last weeks and...
Pain? You don't know what pain is. You haven't the slightest idea.
No, I suppose not. Not compared to you.
That's right.
But you want to know how the story turns out, don't you?
That's the only thing in the whole world I still want. I have this place I go when I feel like this in the hills. Remember Brer Rabbit telling Brer Fox about his laughing place? It has a wooden sign above the door which says Annie's laughing place. I made it. Sometimes I do laugh when I go there, but mostly I just scream.
Jesus. Your popularity is slipping, Paul. Number 2 fan and falling. I'm not going to give up. Come on, Paul. When she comes back in, she's going to kill you. Poison her. Enough novel crushed up in her breakfast cereal, and she'll go unconscious, and then... No, but she tastes it. She's not stupid. You've got to get out of here before she gets back. Light a fire. Burn the place down. That'll bring somebody. But what if it takes too long? I'll end up like a Christmas turkey. Oh, fuck it. Fuck it. Come on. Do it. You have to do it. Okay. When she comes back, you ask for a glass of water because you're so thirsty. You're in bed because you're so weak. And then when she bends over, you take this knife out and you stab her. It's the law of the jungle, Mr. Rory.
Did I ever tell you how many eyes you have?
Yeah. I was dreaming about Africa. Annie, what are you doing? What's happening? Oh, boy. Whatever this stuff is, it's great. It makes that novel look like... This is crystal top. Oh, God. This is walking on clouds and a fucking Rolls Royce, it is.
What do you want first, Paul? The good news or the bad news?
Good news first. Guess you don't like the book much. Too bad. I tried.
I love the book, Paul, you know that.
You love the book, so you can't be going to kill me then. So there can't be any bad news. Oh boy, I'm stoned.
The good news is that your car is gone. I was very worried about it now the snow has melted, but the storms must have washed it into the river. It's gone. Poof! That's the good news. Now that your car's gone, it means you can really stay and finish my book. But do you want to stay? That's the question I have to ask myself, and as much as I want to pull the wool over my eyes, I know the answer to that one. When I was 11, my whole family were killed in a fire, all except me. Do you have any idea what that feels like?
Guess not.
You guess not. I've had more tragedy than one person can bear. They put me with a horrible, mean family. It's not very Christian to say so, but I'm glad when my stepfather died of food poisoning. When I was studying for my nursing exams, my roommate had what they call a freak fall. That was certainly the right word to describe her. Freak. She only fell one flight, but it was a stone floor, and I called the hospital, but...
Wow. Look at that moonlight coming through the window.
I got a job in geriatric wards, St. Joseph's, Riverview, and other places. Oh, you have no idea of how foul old people can be, Paul, when they're sick and nothing you do is right. A lot of them died, an awful lot.
I'm sorry, I'm drifted off.
I preferred being a maternity nurse, and I was good. I was very good, Paul, whatever they say. But there were more incidents. And then, would you believe it? They put me on trial for one of the babies who died. Some girl who wasn't even old enough to have a proper name. The press had a name for me, though. Oh, yes. They called me the Dragon Lady. The police had one hand mark on the girl's throat that was like mine. Like mine, that was all. And they also said I'd been on duty when the deaths occurred. Well, what does that prove? You tell me, what does that prove?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. There were millions and billions of times when I was on duty and nothing happened. Also, I don't believe babies are ensouled. Anyway, I was found innocent.
Well, that's good.
Everyone I ever loved dies, Paul. It's as simple as that. You know what kept me going all the time I was sitting in the holding cell in Denver? Misery. I read all your books again, cover to cover. If it hadn't been for you, I think I would have taken my own life, Paul. So when I found you in the snow, it wasn't a coincidence at all. It really was a miracle.
Best thing that ever happened to me.
Do you remember when I went into town because your writing paper wasn't good enough? That was when you went out the first time, wasn't it? And don't try and tell me you haven't been out because all the hairs are broken.
Hairs?
You can use cotton, but I used hairs from my head. If they're broken, you know someone's been snooping. Not that I was surprised. I knew you'd been out. I've known for a long time. That's the bad news.
Oh.
You wanted your pills. I should have known you'd do anything to get them, but when I get mad, I get, oogie. I checked the bathroom and I thought some had gone, but I wasn't sure. How many times have you been out in all?
Twice.
Please tell the truth, Paul.
That's 2 times. Just to get water and the pills.
Oh, and you didn't try the telephone either time, I suppose, or look at the locks. Let me tell you, Paul, I've stretched strands of hair all over this house and they've all been snapped. In the hallway, in my bedroom upstairs, in the shed outside.
How could I get upstairs?
Oh, you're looking for this? I checked under the mattress before I gave you your pre-op anaesthetic. I expected to find capsules. The knife was a complete shock. I almost slit myself in two. But you didn't put it there, did you?
What do you mean, anaesthetic?
Damn you! God damn you! How many times? I say it was 7. At least 7. Was it 7? I can see you mean to be stubborn. I guess people like you get so used to lying for a living that you just can't stop doing that in real life. But that's all right, because the principle doesn't change. It doesn't, for instance, if you're out 7 times or 70 or 70 times 7, the principle doesn't change, and neither does the response. Have you ever read about the early days at the Kimberley diamond mines? Sometimes the black workers stole diamonds, poked them up the rectums. Do you know what the British did to them if they got caught?
Did it kill them? I guess.
Oh, no. That's like junking an expensive car just because of a broken spring. They made sure they could go on working, but they also made sure they'd never run away again. The operation was called hobbling, Paul, and that's what I'm going to do to you.
No, Annie, please. What the fuck? What is that for? Oh, Annie, I'll stay right there. I won't get out. I won't get out of bed again. Please, Annie, don't, please.
Pain, and this nasty business will be behind us.
Annie, please, don't. Annie, look, I swear to you, I'll be good. Please, give me a chance. I'll be good. I swear to God. Oh, Annie, please.
Don't cry, baby, like the others.
Annie, oh, please, don't hurt me. Annie.
Keep still. I must do this properly.
Annie! Come on, roll out. I've had a whole of those lazy days, crazy days. Oh, summer. You're doing well, Paul. In fact, you're doing remarkably well for a man who couldn't write. If he had a little headache or he didn't have a cigarette, perhaps you should just come to Annie's house whenever you need to write. Misery. Misery Returns will be available in strictly limited edition of 1, bound in the author's skin. No N and no T again. My God, it's the second most common letter in the English language. I'm going to complain to the management. I'm not just going to ask for a new typewriter. I'm going to demand one.
I can't hear you working very hard.
No, better not ask. Better not provoke. And he's not swayed by pleas or screams. She has the courage of her convictions. Go on. Break then. I'll finish anyway. I'll write in longhand. I'll write on the back of my fucking hand if I need to. Because that's what I'll do. I'll go through the hole in the paper if I fly like a big dead bird all the way to Africa. Yes. Let me go to her, I say. Rory pulled backwards and furious strength, and Hezekiah moaned fearfully. No, boss, don't you think them bees are crazy? Rory's dress shirt, now torn in a dozen pieces, began to come apart, and Hezekiah tried to restrain him. Do you want to demonstrate your love by killing her, bitter boss? Hezekiah hissed. Rory ceased to fight and instead looked again on the dreadful sight. Misery had been tied to a post in the clearing, her slender arms and legs brutally spread, eagled and bound by jungle vines in 2 thick wooden stakes. She wore nothing but a stitch of clothing, yet Rory found even the most prudish churchgoer could not have flaunted her for her indecency. Misery was far from naked. She was dressed in bees.
You have to stop, Paul.
Misery seemed almost to be wearing some strange nun's habit. Strange because it moved and unduled constantly across the swell of her breasts and hips. Now literally, thousands of bees covered Misery in a thick and moving blanket. Hezekiah whispered, As long as the drums beat, the bees will sleep and she will live. But what if the drums stop? Rory asked, and just then the drums did.
How does she escape? She has to escape.
Maybe, maybe not.
I can't wait. Tell me the rest. Tell me how it ends.
I can't do that. You won't respect me in the morning. You'll have to wait.
Well, I don't want to wait. Did Baron Heidsieck betray Misery? That's the one thing I really want to know. Oh, you're making me very angry. You know that, don't you?
You remember telling me what the little kid said to his mother? Mummy, you're mean. Isn't that what you're saying? Paul, you're mean.
Oh, boy, gosh, if you make me much madder, I won't be responsible. I can make you tell.
If I give you what you want, you won't want it anymore.
You know what I think? I think you're never going to finish. I think you're willfully slowing down so you won't ever finish.
Annie, what do you want? I've written you a whole new chapter every single day.
Short chapters.
Can't go any faster.
Well, at least tell me if that horrible Hezekiah knows where Misery's father is. Tell me that.
You want me to write the book or fill in your questionnaire?
Don't you take that sarcastic tone to me. You tell me what happens.
If you cut anything off, if you break anything off me, I'll die. It won't be from the shock of it either. I'll die on purpose. Oh, I'm so sorry, Annie, but I've really got to put my foot down this time.
Oh, Paul. I thought you were going to die after your operation. I did. You were barely breathing. I had to put the glucose strips back in your arms again and keep changing the bandages on your ankles. I'll never get a medal for what I've done, though Lord knows I deserve one.
You won't change my mind, you know.
Oh, and why would I ever try to change your mind about anything? A Mr. Smart guy like you who thinks for a living. All I ever did was pull you out of your wrecked car before you could freeze to death and splint your broken legs and give you medicine and take care of you and talk you into writing the best book you ever wrote. If that's crazy, then take me to the asylum.
You also broke my fucking feet.
Don't you use the F word around me. I was raised better, even if you weren't. You're lucky I didn't cut off your man gland. I thought about it.
I know.
I want the end, and I want it now.
Very, very soon. Just a couple more chapters.
One more chapter.
Right. One more chapter. Tomorrow, you'll find out everything.
Oh, Paul. Poor darling. This is where you belong now. Yes, it is. Everyone else has forgotten about you. Oh, there were a few lines in the newspapers last year, tucked away where nobody reads things, and a silly young cop came round and asked if I'd seen anything.
Someone came round?
Only right at the beginning. You were still unconscious. But what's happened since? Nothing. All your so-called friends seem to have forgotten about you.
No, they haven't.
Yes, they have, Paul. Just like everyone knew about Denver, but they've forgotten and they don't bother anymore. People don't care, you see. Oh, they might say they do and kick up an almighty humbuggy fuss at the time, but pretty soon they forget.
Somebody's still looking for me.
Who, Paul? Not the police. They have more pressing things than a missing drunk driver. And not your fancy New York agent. I don't think she's paid for any special search parties. I haven't heard any helicopters combing the woods for you. Well, she's got plenty of other writers. Well, there isn't anybody else, is there? You don't have any friends. You're like me.
I'm nothing like you.
We're good. We're no good with other people.
Speak for yourself.
I'm speaking for the both of us, Paul. I read the book jackets. 2 marriages and 2 failures. You tried to write that great novel so everyone would admire you, and you failed that as well. Truth is, you failed at just about everything, apart from Misery. I've got you your Dom Perignon for when you finish, like you always have. It costs $75 for 1 bottle, but Chucky Yoda at the liquor store said it's the best champagne in the world.
Well, Old Chucky knows his champagne. But there's something else I liked, if you still got them.
What?
There were some cigarettes in my bag.
Now, you know those things are no good for you, Paul. They give you cancer.
Would you say cancer is something I have to worry about? We all know what's going to happen when I type the end, don't we, Annie? I just want one cigarette for the end. What do you say, Annie? Be a good sport.
All right. But before the champagne, I'm not drinking a $75 bottle of fizzy beer in a room full of poison.
Okay, put it on the side table tonight so I can smoke it on my own.
It's going to be a good end, isn't it?
Yes, it's going to be hot stuff.
I love you, Paul. You know that, don't you?
Yes, yes I do.
I love you. Oh, I don't feel real. I don't feel real. You're not working.
That's right. I've stopped work and I'm not doing any more. You want to know what I've just typed, Annie?
All I know is you're not working, Mr. Man, and you promised me
2 words.
the end. The end.
No peeking.
Oh, Paul, you get a whole row of gold stars. Oh, boy, wait until you see this. I've not only got you champagne, I've got you caviar, a great big gooey pile of caviar. Wait here. I don't even know if I like this stuff or not. You don't get anything for the money. Oh, Paul, it's so rich, it makes you want to throw up. I don't like it.
Oh, time for you. Oh, Annie's time for your story.
I'm coming, hang on a minute.
Annie, it's just the best thing I've ever done. False modesty aside, I've got to say this ending's not good. It's much better than good. It's great. Too bad you're never going to read it.
No!
It's a little trick I learnt from you.
You can't burn misery. You can't. Oh, you cock-a-doodle brat!
Take that! I beat you. I beat you, you bitch. Those were the notes I burnt. This is the real book. This is my book. This is my book.